And so, what is self-worth to begin with? So, it's a subjective term that is used to describe self-value or how we value ourselves. And so, it differs slightly from self-esteem, which is self-esteem is what we think and feel and believe about ourselves in comparison with others. So, self-esteem has to do with comparison with others, how we see ourselves when we compare ourselves to other people. But self-worth is just you looking at just you and valuing yourself. And so self-worth is about recognizing that I am of value. I am valuable, I am lovable, I am worthy of what I deserve just by being me. I don't have to do anything extra. I don't have to prove it. I don't have to do something else on top of who I already am in order to be deserving of whatever it is that I aspire to achieve or to have, that I am already inherently worthy. And so when you start to shift your thoughts to believe that you're inherently worthy, this will help you to develop a mindset that allows you to go after the things that you want to achieve in your life. So knowing that you're worthy by virtue of being here, by just being human, that you are worthy and that you deserve to have anything that you want in the world. So once you have that mindset, you're not holding yourself back. You're not holding yourself back from going after that job. You're not holding yourself back from achieving those things that you want to achieve because you feel like you need to put in a little bit more effort. You need to improve your ability. Your performance is not what you think it should be before you achieve those things or before you go after those things. That will be removed and you can just go after your goals. You can go after your dreams to achieve them because you're already worthy of them anyway. And so the higher your sense of self-worth, the more deserving you feel about the good things in your life as well. You don't feel guilty about the good things that you already have, right? Because the self-worth also would make you feel that you don't deserve those good things that you already have. And so you can't even enjoy them really well and feel peace about them. So self-worth helps you to go after the things that you want to have in your life, but it also allows you to enjoy those good things that you already have in your life. And so I'm going to share with you 5 exercises for developing and maintaining a high level of self-worth. So the first one is increasing your self-understanding. You have to understand yourself first before you can have a sense of self-worth, like a high level of self-worth. So increasing your self-understanding involves self-awareness and really understanding who you are and where you're coming from. And I'll give you an exercise. So imagine that everything you have is suddenly taken away from you. So I do this with workshops or groups that I facilitate. So I have everybody imagine that the things they've written down that are valuable to them are suddenly taken away from them. Your job, you suddenly lost. Imagine that you suddenly lost your job for one reason or the other. Imagine that your family is suddenly not there anymore. Imagine that all the money in the bank just gone in one day. And so imagine that all those things that you're using to describe yourself are not there anymore. How would you describe yourself? Who would you say you are? So for example, instead of saying I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a spouse, I'm a public health professional, I'm a life coach, what would you say? I am a kind person, I am a compassionate person, I'm a joyful person. So notice the difference when you think of yourself that way. You're not attaching who you are or how you describe yourself to any other person or any circumstance. You are just describing who you are, regardless of what you have or what position you hold in a particular company, or what relationship status you have. So that way you're starting to discover who you really are without attaching that to your relationships or your status or connection to things around you. So try that exercise and see. And then when you do that and you start to write down those things, then you start to realize that no matter what happens externally, or no matter what you lose around you, you're not affected internally, because there's those certain things that you now start to describe or identify yourself with that cannot be taken away from you regardless of whatever circumstance you face, right? Because people lose jobs, people's relationship status changes, people's kids move on or pass away, God forbid, or things happen, right? And so or people's financial status changes, people's immigration status changes with war or other situations. So those things are really dependent on circumstances that you sometimes cannot control. And so basing your self-worth on those things puts you at risk of having low self-worth in case any of those things changes, right? So if you put your self-worth in who you were in a position in a particular company, the role you hold, when that company goes down or your position is declared redundant, your sense of self-worth is also affected because you tied it to that particular role. So this exercise just helps you to detach from identifying yourself with people or connections or things around you, but more ground yourself in who you really are without those attachments. Then the second exercise is boosting your self-acceptance. So once you have a better idea of who you are based on that fast exercise, you now enhance acceptance of yourself. You accept who you really are. You accept all those things that you've listed about yourself and hold those things to be true. Then the third exercise is enhancing your self-love. And in this, you make it a goal to extend kindness, compassion, generosity to yourself first. And so you start paying attention to the voices in your head. How do you speak to yourself? So you commit to being more positive to yourself, to being more uplifting to yourself, especially when you're talking to yourself, that voice in your head. So recognizing who you really are from that first exercise, accepting who you are from the second exercise. The third exercise just is about being kinder, more compassionate to yourself now that you're discovering who you really are. And then the fourth one is recognizing your self-worth. And now you're at the point of understanding, accepting, loving yourself. You get to a point where you no longer have to depend on people, accomplishments, or any other external factors for your self-worth. And that's really what it is about. This is where you want to get to. And so at this point, it's to recognize your worth and appreciate yourself for all that you are and for all of the work that you've done to get to that point. And so committing to continuing to maintain your self-understanding, that is the first exercise. The self-acceptance, that is the second exercise. Self-love, which is the third exercise. And fourth is now your self-worth, right? So, and then the fifth one is taking responsibility for yourself. So this, at this stage, now you practice being responsible for yourself, for your circumstances, and for everything that is going on around you that you are engaging with. So taking full responsibility to what happens in your life without giving your personal power away. And so acknowledging that you do have that personal power to change and influence events and circumstances in your life, because you realize that your self-worth is not dependent on anyone or any external factor or any external circumstance, that it's just you alone, and how you look at yourself, and you're inherently worthy and valuable. And so when you get to that realization, understanding, acceptance of that, you can make decisions that are life affirming for you, because you already know that. And so taking that responsibility to make those decisions that are going to put you in a better place in your life without giving your power away. Sometimes we give power away based on how we view our self-worth, right? We tied our self-worth to that relationship status or that situation, and so because we tied ourselves to it, we find it difficult to make decision that is taking us in the opposite direction, because we tied our self-worth to it. But when you detach and you free yourself from it, then you're free to make the best decisions for your life. You're taking responsibility for your life, right? And so self-worth and young people growing up, our daughters as they're growing up. So the way we cultivate self-worth for our young ones is to show them unconditional love. So as a parent or a family member, showing them unconditional respect and a positive regard for them, regardless of their performance. So that they grow up not tying their performance to their amount of love or amount of respect they receive from their parent or a teacher, right? So when we recognize this, we have a responsibility to model that, to provide them with the respect, a positive regard, regardless of their performance. So we're not tying the two, because in their minds they will tie these two, and they will feel that their performance is the precondition for getting a positive regard from the teacher or the parent, and we don't want to do that. So if you're interested in getting an idea of what your current level of self-worth is, there is a scale for that. You can complete the scale and see what it tells you. And so the scale is evidence-based. It was created by a group of researchers who have worked on this for many, many years. So it's an evidence-based tool that you can complete. I will put the link in my description box. You can access that scale from my website. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. Please subscribe so that you get an alert every time I post a video. I really enjoy creating these videos on these different topics and presenting them to you. It's my joy, it's my passion. And so thank you so much for all your encouraging words. And for the ideas of topics that I should do videos on. Visit my website to find out more information about the services that I offer or any resources. Like I say, there's a blog with articles on these very topics that I do videos on. If you want to read up more about it, if you want to access some of the resources so you can do some of the work at home by yourself, that is fine. You're welcome to do it. I created those resources for you. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful and a blessed day.